We are in Montrose on yet another roof where there is another chimney with a beehive in it. I'm guessing at some point the previous owners of this property had bees in here or some sort of pests in here, and the mesh here was their solution, but this stuff breaks down, and so it allowed another hive to move in. So we'll just peel it back and you'll see this hive's been here a very long time, and it goes a fair way down the chimney. This will be interesting. I'm going to take this green thing off for the time being. We are back in Montmorency, where the bees are coming and going from the chimney. I have ear plugs and dust mask on at the moment, so I don't know if I'm speaking too loudly or not. The hive, as we know, starts up near the top of the chimney and it comes all the way down to about here, so approximately 2 meters based on the thermal image. So we'll pull some bricks out and get a better idea of what we're looking at. There we go. So as always, the chimney zigzags, so it will zigzag up. This is all dead unused comb at the moment that they'll reclaim as the season progresses, so it's good that we're pretty much at the start of spring so that we can get the hive out while it's still relatively small post-winter. Unfortunately, the bees have already started using this comb. It's unfortunate because it means I do have to take more bricks out down the chimney, which I was hoping to avoid. It obviously keeps going down. We knew this was a really large hive because the previous owners had reported killing a hive that had been in this chimney, and now several years after it was killed, the poison's worn off and we've got a ready-made hive for a new swarm to move into. And I knew it went up to 2 meters down the chimney, but it looks like it went a bit more than 2 meters. But thankfully there's not that many bees on this bottom section, so now I've got my fingers crossed that I don't have to take out any more bricks from below, and I can get this comb out and then start taking bricks out from above. You can see some pests did at some point start coming in and eating up the hive, which is what normally happens, but I'm guessing the poison got the pests as well, because they didn't finish dissolving the hive. As you can see, it goes a long way down. Yeah. Okay, you can see little grubs floating around. They look like hive beetle larvae. Admittedly, I can't get as close as the camera, so I can't see properly. But wax moth has a telltale spider webby trail behind it, whereas the hive beetle doesn't. So from as close as I can get, I'm thinking hive beetle. So the pests are still slowly eating up the old hive. In nature, the bees actually like hive beetle and wax moth, even though beekeepers don't, because this old black and brownish comb bees don't actually like using. They prefer the fresh white comb, and so when hive beetle and wax moth come in and eat up the old black comb, it allows bees to make a new white comb in the hive. I believe I have got all the comb out of the bottom now. There we go. Oop. Yay. Okay, so that's the harder part done. Well, the harder part's really getting the rest of the bricks out, but that's likely the frustrating part done. There we go. Definitely hive beetle. You can see a hive beetle cocoon there. So, yay. Awesome. Now we'll put an entrance, a blocker in below the hive, and we'll start working up the hive. There we go, the blocker is in now. We've got little timber things there. This prevents, as I work, anything falling down the chimney and losing it, which we don't really want. We want it all up here. So we've now pulled all the bricks out that we need pulled out, and as you can see, it is a very large hive. I'll cut the dead part of the hive out at the top first, just in case the queen starts running up the hive. Obviously the bulk of the hive is from about there down to about there, so just over a metre is the bulk of the hive. Later in the season they would have taken over more of the hive, but it's too early in the season for that. There we go. I've obviously pulled the top half of the hive out. It's all dry, so I've left it just sitting on top there because the bees are rather excitable. I'm going to get the bee vac set up and bee vac them. I'll still frame up down the bottom, but I'll unite them in quarantine with what I cut out just there. A little bit too excitable and stingy to do the plan I was planning to do. All good, we'll get there. So we have babies here. You'll see they've capped over the baby brood. The flatter brood is the girl bees, and the big fat stuff is the boy bees, because boys are big and fat in the bee world. We don't put the boy bees in the cutout because they don't contribute to the hive in the worker capacity, so they just weaken the hive. If we put them in there, once the hive's stronger again, they'll make more boy bees, but for the time being the boys just eat food and don't do much else. So there we go. I'm not seeing any eggs. I am seeing capped brood, but I'm not seeing any eggs or larvae. And the reason is this hive's recently swarmed, and we have some queen cells in the hive. One's clearly hatched, one hasn't yet. So I've got to be very delicate with them, so they and still have a queen, but at the moment it looks like there's no queen in the hive. I'm hoping I'm wrong, because it's easier if there's a queen in the hive, but I haven't seen any uncapped brood or eggs yet. There we go, so the whole hive's out. We'll start filling the cavity with old clothing now. 100% certain there was no queen in the hive, so if the queen cells I've picked out fail, we'll give them some other brood to force them to make another queen from that. But yeah, it's a big hive, heaps of bees. Just must have swarmed in the last week. There we go. we'll fill the cavity with old clothing now. Not many bees flying around. There we go, cavity's full of rags. The bees you can see down there in the back of the ute, and the box with the metal lid on it has all their comb. So we'll unite them when we get to quarantine, but for now we're all done. No bees flying around except for some robbers.